Hi everyone, I'm Shanice and this is Her to You. So this week's topic is going to be surrounding guilt, and more specifically it's going to be the guilt of single motherhood. So um, I'm going to be discussing 5 different topics. I'm going to go over those topics now with you with my own story, and then throughout the week, if you follow my Instagram page at Her to You, that's HER the number 2 the letter U, you will actually see some of the posts that I put up that could help you overcome and deal with the guilt of single motherhood. So, and then there, you're more than welcome to engage, write comments or whatever, your story or whatever there. So, again, if you would like to follow along with the YouTube as well, it also coincides with the Instagram page. Again, that's Her to You, the letter HER, the number 2, the letter U, and then also on my Facebook page, which is Shanice Irving. And so all that information is down below in the description, so you'll just be able to grab it from there. So so I'm going to, this is transparent amendment, and discuss my guilt with single motherhood and the problem that I had with it, and not so much how I overcome it, because it's a process. I'm still, I'm definitely further than what I used to be, but I also had a baby at 23 and I'm now way older than that. So it definitely is a process. So the first one is understanding how you became single. And that's really just owning your story on how you became single. So for me, it was an unplanned pregnancy. I was with my daughter's dad. I was 22 when I got pregnant. I was 23 when I had her. So for me, the disappointment was immediately, and which was so crazy because I never wanted kids, but I kind of wanted a kid, you know what I'm saying? Because all my friends were having kids. And when I look back at that now, I just think how stupid that is. That is so stupid and reckless, because now I look at young girls my age then, 22, 23, and they're living their best life. They're finishing school, they're opening businesses, they're starting their careers, they're traveling or whatever. And my butt was having a whole baby and thought that was life, which I found out it was not. And so when I found out that I was pregnant, I was disappointed. I was so disappointed. And the reason why I was disappointed is because I knew her father was not who I wanted him to be with. I knew it. And transparent moment, real moment for real, I honestly was breaking up with him a couple weeks before I found out that I was pregnant. You know how you kind of start distancing yourself from someone? You know how females do. And then, then I got sick as a dog, and he was just taking care of me, and he was like, yo, I think you should go. And I'm like, nope, I ain't gonna do it. And I finally did, and it was just real. It was real from that moment. And it was disappointing to me because the realization of you being a single mother is hard. And at the time, we were still together, but in my head, in the back of my head, I'm like, this ain't gonna work. This is not gonna work. In hindsight now, I realized that me and him, when we did find out that we were pregnant, we didn't discuss it. We didn't say, okay, what does this look like? What does this mean for our relationship? You know, how do you think you'll be as a mother? How do you think you'll be as a father? Like, you know, how should we plan for this? How should we did none of that. We did none of that. And that was like, we literally pushed the baby under the rug. Literally. Like, how do you push a subject of you having a kid under the rug and you just keep it pushing like it's not about to happen? That's literally how we took the situation. Like, in 9 months we just was not about to have a whole baby. Lord, just stupid. This is why you don't need to be getting pregnant or having a child if you is not ready or practicing. So okay, so where am I at? So we stayed together for 6 months after my child was born. So my daughter was 6 months when me and her dad officially broke up. I went and got my own place and everything. And that realization, that's when it hit me for real though. So even though in the back of my head, like when I found out I was pregnant, I knew that I wasn't going to be with him, I still had a little bit of hope because he was there. He was present. He was there. So I'm like, okay. But once I had my child and I just seen how, because we didn't have that discussion, and I seen how both our lives were different, literally, I became mom. I became a mom immediately when I had my daughter, and he still stayed that same person. So, and I didn't have a discussion with him. I'm like, I didn't talk to him. I'm like, if you don't know how to be a father, then I'll just go and be a mother myself. So I did that. I moved out, moved me and my daughter out. And from right there at that moment, you have to be like, okay, what do I do? Because there wasn't no co-parenting conversations. There wasn't no money conversations. There wasn't no visitation conversations. It was, Shanice, you have a kid to take care of. So the only thing that was on my mind was to be independent. And I don't know, I'm getting emotional. So this is the reason why I tell you that I'm still struggling with the guilt of it, because that was reckless, you know, and I was young and I didn't know. And this is the part where I say I struggle with the guilt, because I still beat myself up for this. As you can see, I still beat myself up for this, because I'm like, I should have had a better plan for her, you know, for my child. Sorry, guys. I just got to gather myself up, because one thing I'm learning is how to be in those moments. How to put myself back in those moments. And that's just really hard. It's really hard. It's really hard. So, the thing is that, you know, I didn't want to be in the same statistic. Like, I didn't want, like, I was raised by a single mother, you know? So I know what that looks like. I know what that looks like because I lived it. And boom, I just turned around and did the same exact thing. So my biggest thing was, again, make sure I am independent to a T. Make sure I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to ask anyone for anything. Make sure I'm taking care of my child. So that brings me to number 2. So in one of the topics is not being able to afford the extras for our kids. Now, I went above and beyond when my child was young. I used to do the absolute most to make sure she had everything. In this girl, so if she was like, I used to want her to be, because like when I was growing up, my grandmother, she had me in activities. So I wanted my daughter to be in every activity. So her first activity, she was in, she used to dance at Cleo Parker Robinson, and that's his dance studio in Denver. And I went out. I don't know if they still have it, but I don't know if you guys remember, like, Target had like this crazy display of ballet stuff. They would have the bag, the socks, the leotards, the tights, everything, the little accessories, everything. I went out. I remember my grandma was like, Shanice, this girl ain't even started dancing. I went and bought every. She had to do a ballet, and she was, y'all. The bag was bigger than her. She was just just dragging the bag, and I don't even want to talk about how she did in the class, but so anything she would do, if she would, when she did T-ball, I done got this girl a whole, I done customized her bat. I done got her, I did everything, and it was just to show her that I could, really was just show her myself, really to show myself like, oh, you have to go above and beyond to make sure that you can do for her, you know. And let me tell y'all something, that, you know, that will put you in situations if you don't plan it properly. And I was like an impulsive buyer, so so I used to find myself in situations like, okay, but but it was just really trying to make sure that she had what she needed. And, well, not really, I wanted to get what she needed and what she wanted, you know what I'm saying. And I wanted us not to lag. I felt that as a kid, that lag, and I didn't like it. And because I had this guilt over me over putting her in this situation of being raised by a single mom, I did extra. I did entirely too much, and it's kicking my butt now because this child is spoiled as hell. Excuse me. But she's spoiled and she just expects so much, and I'm like, nah, sis. At this point, it's we're on an earning system, and you're not just gonna get because of mommy's dealing with this guilt, and she's trying to make sure that you have. So, yeah. So that was one thing that I did to overcompensate, really, of being a single mom, is just not even making sure I had the extras. It was, no, I got it. I got it. You gonna have it. We gonna do, it was that I didn't properly plan all the time. I didn't really I let the guilt decide for me, like, well, so yeah. So that was kind of, I mean, it was fun seeing that, but we could have did a lot more. That could have been another place, that could have been in savings, that could have been that I could have invested that in things that she really ended up like doing. We was just testing, trying out everything, and I was buying the whole house for it. Lord, like everything, she was in everything. So it was an experience. She can't say she can't say she didn't do nothing. I know that. So I have some notes. Where are we at now? Oh, okay. So also the guilt of not keeping up with two parent families. So that goes along with me doing extra for her. And that's another reason why I did extra for her. I did extra for her because not only was I doing it for myself and the guilt of being a single mom, but when she showed up to these places, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times it would be two parents. It would, like, a lot of these places, because I would go like far out, to put her in like really good programs. So like it would normally be a two-parent, the mom and the father coming to see their children at gymnastics, whether it's ballet, t-ball, drama. I'm telling y'all, she was in all of that. Soccer. So, she would have the best of the best. And she would have the best of the best because I didn't want her to look like she lacked. I didn't want her to look like, even though it was a one parent home, I didn't want her to look like we was out here struggling. Like, no, we got it. I can do this by myself. I'm independent. She don't need no daddy. I didn't really think that, but it was just, that's how I felt. Like, I had to appease these other people, and I always felt like their eyes was on me. I always felt a little weird anytime I would go somewhere because our conversations are not the same. I don't have the same conversation as a married couple. You know what I'm saying? And I can only discuss what's going on with me. And that's another thing. Like, I've noticed in those conversations what my child missed out on. That I couldn't buy. I couldn't make up. Like, I couldn't fake the front. She wasn't gonna get that experience. And oh, Lord, don't let me cry again. I'm telling you, this thing is real. I just have to say this, like, if you become a single mother, then you just become a single mother. There's nothing that you could do but get the grinding and moving for your children. But if you can help it, I'm telling you, it's not a rite of passage. It's not a like, oh, let me show you that I can do it by myself. It's not, because whether you believe it or not, your kid lacks, and you'll find out. You'll find out sooner or later, because they'll tell you. They'll let you know how they feel about not having that other half. Now, too, though, let me explain my single motherhood. My single motherhood is the father's not present. There's no co-parenting. There's no father around. There's none of that. So her father was the type of guy that if we wasn't together, then he wasn't around. So let me put that disclaimer in there. Like, if you were a single parent, you co-parenting, I can't relate to that. So that's not what I'm talking about as far as my story. You know what I'm saying? As far as what I can relate to. I can relate to the single mother who is doing it by themselves. And there is no father around. He ain't calling. He's not doing anything. And the crazy part is her dad would call, right? My daughter is born on January 2nd. He will call January 2nd and wish her happy birthday. Mind you, my daughter loves holidays. I'm not a holiday person. My daughter loves holidays. One of her favorites is Halloween. So there's Halloween, there's Thanksgiving, there's Christmas, there's even New Year's Eve. And she wouldn't get a phone call at all. So all of these holidays, because I knew how she is, and I knew she wasn't going to get a phone call at all, I did the most. I did the most on Halloween. I did the most on Thanksgiving. I used to do a whole Thanksgiving spread for the two of us. Like, who is eating all of this? I did. Christmas was ridiculous. And then New Year's Eve, I made sure that I was home all the time. Like, I never celebrated New Year's. Especially when she came, I never really celebrated because I always wanted my child to know, that I was here with her. Her birthday was so close and stuff. I always was there. So yeah. So when I speak of my experience with a single motherhood, I'm talking about non-existent. Man, I was about to say something else, but yeah. So, all right. Never having enough time. The guilt of never having enough time. All right. So, once my child got up until like school age, because I had to take some time off. I was lucky enough to take some time off while she was while she was young. But once she got into school, elementary school, then I definitely was at work. And then I worked like a couple of jobs. I used to always have like 2-3 jobs. I did, and it was just to make sure that we had enough, make sure that we had overly enough. I was, so she would either be with my sister or with one of my friends and her mom, and so, or her grandma, and that began to eat me up, because by the time I would get to her, I would be so tired. Like, I would be so tired. Like, I wouldn't have time to like play. I wouldn't have time to like do nothing. Like, they would do her homework with her and everything. Like, I didn't have the time. So, and only like on weekends. I would always have weekends off, but that means that I was doubling up Monday through Friday. But I would always have the weekends off, and that was to just take her out, take her to the park and stuff like that. And I thought that was enough time. I did, and it wasn't enough time. Or being able to, one thing I've been fortunate enough to do is to make it to anything she had going on. Like, if she had a school play, I don't care what it was. I used to be at my supervisor's. I'd be like, listen, I'll come back. I'll make up the time. I used to do that all the time. And one thing I've always made, that's one thing I can say, I never miss a performance. I've never missed nothing. I've never missed a thing. I've always showed up. I've always showed up for her, even if I had to take this is so emotional. Even if I had to take vacation time, sick time, if I had to do overtime, adjusted time, whatever time it was, I always showed up for anything that she had going on, games, anything and everything. I did show up for. And then with that being said, I would have to make up for that time or whatever. So then I would be, gone again. But Lord, but I would say that me just being able to, I do miss now not being able to, because you can't take back those moments. Like, you can't take back those 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds where you just chilling, where y'all got a routine, where you just relaxing, where you just not ripping and running and have to go to work and have to do all this. And she's used to being at someone else's home. You know what I'm saying? And I remember I used to work so much that I know my friend's mom, she would be like, just go home and get some rest, Shanice, and I'll you can pick her up in the morning. I'm like, I can't. Like, I always would have to have my baby in the bed with me. You know what I'm saying? Or, at night. She would always have to be at home at night, regardless of whatever time I would get off. And it would be some crazy hours sometimes. And I would still go get my child. And it's so funny because I used to, when she wasn't in school, or even when she was young, when she was a little younger, but she wasn't in school or had to be, in like a weekend or something. Like if I worked Friday night and I got off early, like Saturday morning, like I would go get her, wake her up, and make her sit in the bed with me and watch a movie and just kind of talk with her, try to play with her. I would try because I would feel so guilty. I would feel so guilty, like I'm working to make sure that we vacation. I'm working to make sure that we have our little weekend trips. I'm working to make sure that we're able to do this, but Monday through Friday, I don't know what's going on with you. And I thought it was cool. I mean, not cool. I thought it was enough to be able to work for, an amount of time and then take, a week off and then just chill with her, and I would do that. I would take, a week or a couple of days off and then, be there to pick her up from school, be able, be there to, take her for ice cream or something like that, normal. So, but that was that guilt. Like that guilt would eat me up while I'm at work. Like, yo, because it would be like a couple days where I'll be like, hold up, oh yeah, I need to, get some time in. It gets, schedule some time in or whatever. But yeah, so, and for surviving rather than thriving. Yes, yo. So I think that just, it just depends on where when I was young, when I had my child, like I said, I was 23 and I was working to go to the club, buy outfits and hang out. Like I was selfish. I wasn't thinking about anybody else. You know what I'm saying? I've, had my own place since I was young. So it was only me. Yeah, I was very selfish. It was only me. It was me. I took care of me and that was it. So when another person comes along and I wasn't prepared. Not even gonna lie, I wasn't prepared to have my child, not financially, nothing. So I started off struggling, and that was hard because you can't make up that time. The kid's right here. You know what I'm saying? She needs diapers now. She needs milk now. And I prided myself on making sure she had those things in abundance, making sure she had those things. She didn't go without. But while she didn't go without, something went without. You know what I'm saying? But it was a sacrifice I had to make. But it would have been nice. I mean, it's nice now, but it would have been nice to, especially at that, at a young, it would have been nice just from the get-go to just have her straight, have things straight, have things planned out, have, and I know that's so woulda, coulda, shoulda, and everything, but I do. And that guilt. That guilt eats me up. Like, yo, you should have did better, or you should have did this, or you should have did that, or you should have did that. And for so long, that guilt hindered a lot of my decisions. A lot of my decisions when it came to her, because it was just like, no, I got to make sure because she didn't ask for this, she didn't ask for this. You know what I'm saying? So I got to make sure I have this, and I have to make sure I have that. But I don't do that anymore. Like, I don't. Like, I've forgiven myself for becoming a single mother, and I don't beat myself up as much, but there are days, especially now that she's getting older. Well, she's 14 now, and she still hasn't seen, like, she has my, like my my father, her uncle. So she has tons of father figures per se. But like, you know, I've stayed single for a long time, just and feeling guilty and feeling guilty over because I'm like, I don't want to create another situation. So, you know, I have to forgive myself. Like, you know, I did the best. You know, it's not like it's over. You know, and that's another thing too. It's not over. My child is chilling. She living, and we discuss these things all the time. Now we definitely do. We definitely talk about. Um, I want her to be honest in her feelings and how she feels about being raised. You know, without her father. So, and she's fine. She has her days though where she just wants to know like why, and that's just something I can't really answer, and I'm hoping that she does, get that answer. But one thing I'm not gonna let it do is I'm not gonna let it hinder her from living her life. That's what we not gonna do. So in order for me to make sure she don't harbor those type of emotions, like I have to fully, you know what I'm saying, understand my situation, understand why I was in that situation, and then forgive myself and keep it pushing. Not keep it pushing per se. It's like, oh well, you just got to do what you got to do, because that's what happened with, with me originally. Is I'm just like, oh, you got to do what you got to do, but I'm not really thinking, okay, what is it that I have to do? What is the situation? So, oh we that's definitely enough for me, because I just feel so emotional right now. I do. Like I said, one thing about renewing your mind and healing yourself is you really have to deal with those emotions. You really have to go inside yourself and feel those feels. And do I feel like I disappointed her? Yes, I do. Um, and I feel guilty because of that. But those are things that I'm working on daily. Like I'm working on daily to heal myself from those thoughts. And that's another thing. Like I've had to rebuke those thoughts, like, oh, you're not as good, you know what I mean, or you could be a better mother, or you could have did this, or you could. Oh, I had to kill them thoughts, cause baby, I would be sick. I would be so sick. So that's one. That ain't even one. That's wins. That's several wins for me, because I used to let them things beat me up, and I don't anymore. I don't anymore. Like while I would be at work and be like, okay, well, I gotta make sure she. I don't do none of that no more. I don't do none of that more. I plan now. Everything makes sense now. She'll have what she has. You know what I'm saying? There's a system now. She'll earn what she earns. I'm not about to be guilt tripped into materialistic anything. I'm not going to be guilt tripped into making a decision. We're going to make the best decision, and that's just that. You know what I'm saying? I understand our circumstance, but there are plenty of people in different circumstances. We need to know. I understand the circumstance we're in, and I plan for our circumstances. So, yo, that is all that I have. I could be on here for some hours, though, chopping it up, but I'm going to end there. So, again, like I said, if you do not follow me on Instagram and or Facebook, then you won't see some of the written materials in my little creative posts that I create. Again, if you would like to follow me on all social media platforms, I will have those also listed down below in the description. But again, it is Instagram at her to you. That's HER, the number 2, the letter U, and then Shanice Irving on Facebook. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this video. And Y'all, let's to all my single mothers out there, sis, you're doing great. 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 And keep thriving. Keep raising these children. And don't beat yourself up, sis. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Because you're there. You could be gone, but you're there. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys supporting me on my healing journey. This has been very rewarding to really just speak to you guys out there and get the responses that I've been given. So again, thank you guys, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.